Hi, my name's Ellie Mexico, and I had the opportunity this summer to go to Tijuana, Mexico on a mission trip. I was probably most excited about going with my sister because she's gone away to college and I don't have as much of an opportunity to spend time with her. One of the first things that happened, on Tuesday we got to go to the battered women's shelter and we all got to help paint a room. There were too many people to paint the room, the children's room, and so we just did manicures and pedicures. And there was this one lady who sat there for so long. One of us went over and asked her, we were like, are you sure you don't want your nails done? And she was like, I actually do, I just didn't want to say anything. And it was just so sad because it was like, we would have totally done it any time that she wanted us to, but she didn't say anything to us. I think when we left was the saddest because all the kids were we had bonded with them so much and they were all just like, are you gonna be able to come back? And we were all like, no, we're not gonna be able to come back, but I had a great time with you today and it was just, it was good, it was fun. Then on Wednesday, we got to go into the Colonia and we served hot dogs that we had made that morning. We made pillows that day because Brendan talked about sheep and how God is our shepherd and how we are like sheep. They had such a hard time making the pillows because they'd tie the knot and they'd just twist it up and they'd be like, I did it, and it would fall apart and you'd be like, oh. You had to do half of it for them. I just think that it was really neat to get to connect with the kids in the Colonia that first day because at first it was really awkward because nobody knew anybody and it was just kind of hey, what's your name? I think my first impression was probably how much poverty they were living in and how sad it was and how we have so much to offer and they have absolutely nothing. The houses were made out of pieces of wood and plastic cans and just put all together in a pile formed with mud. And so you're if it rains, doesn't it fall down? And it was just how can you live like that? And then that night we got to go to Pastor Albert's church and dance, and I think that was probably the most fun, dancing. I think that it was really funny that Pastor Albert was like, Kristen, Jessica, come on up and sing. And then Linda got up there and they were all singing and they went from English to Spanish and English to Spanish and they kept switching off and they'd stop and be like, your turn. And then they'd stop and be like, your turn. When the guest gave his testimony, it was just really neat because you couldn't hear what he was saying because he said it in Spanish first, and then all the Mexicans would be like, woo, say praise the Lord in Spanish, and then when you heard it in English, we'd be like, woo, and we'd say praise the Lord in English, and it was just it was really funny, but it was neat to be able to do that.
And I have 66 bullets with me. I'm full with 66 bullets. It says 66 bullets because it has 66 books of the Bible. Each one is a bullet.
Also that night we got to do a skit in Spanish. And it was really funny because whenever we got the words messed up, everybody would laugh at us. And we'd be like, whoops, we said that wrong. And then on Thursday, we did VBS and we got to wash hair. And I think that washing hair was an awesome experience. It was a little gross at first, but after your hands had already been in lice and dirty hair and gross water, and it was just my hands are already dirty. I don't care anymore. The reason that we had to wash their hair is just because they don't have running water. And so we had to bring in the water ourselves. There was this one kid where Dan was washing his hair, and I'd say it was probably 6 or 7, maybe 8. And Dan accidentally got water on his shirt, and the little kid was like, ah! He was like, I want more water! So Dan kept dunking buckets of water on him, and I thought that was really funny. He'd look up and he'd be like, more water. And I think that it was really neat that we got to brush their hair out and put it in a ponytail or braid their hair or something like that, because the little girls loved it and they kept being like, I want a braid, I want pigtails. And it was like they were having a spa day, and they never got to ever be like, can you do this for my hair? Their mom was just like, give me your head, and she'd like put it in a ponytail, and then they'd go. And like they got to pick what they wanted, and I thought that was really neat. On Friday, we got up and we made peanut butter sandwiches and Play-Doh for the VBS talk that we did about clay. And when we got to the Colonial, we just kind of hung out for a little while and sang some songs and did the VBS lesson about clay. And then we handed out the peanut butter sandwiches, and we were able to do that skit that we did at Pastor Albert's church for the kids. And once again, they laughed at us when we messed up the wording. I think that maybe Friday was the saddest day because everybody was like, I'll see you tomorrow. And we were like, I won't see you tomorrow. And so like everybody followed us out to the van, and they like gave us, we had like a hugging line, and we were like, hug, 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 hug. Then that night we got to hang out with some of the teenagers from the orphanage that we were staying at. I think that was a fun night because we celebrated Dan's birthday. I think my favorite part of that night was probably when he blew out the candles and they were like, take a big bite out of the cake. And he was like, I'm not gonna take a bite of the cake, then I ruined the cake for you guys. And so when he went down to blow the candles, they pushed his head into the cake and he had cake up his nose. It was hilarious. But I think that it was really neat to have that birthday party because we bonded with everybody. Like, that was probably the most bonding night that we had. Overall, I think that it was the most amazing experience that I've ever had. I went a couple years ago, and I think this year was my favorite, and I really hope to go next year. And I think if you haven't ever gone, you should go.